What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Cult of Recreationalism podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Morris, and today on the show, we've got Michael Dalton. Welcome, Michael.
Yo, hey man, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, thanks for coming on. I wrote up a little intro. It's been really fun actually writing these intros for people. And there's only one thing that I'm not sure about, and I
Oh,
think you'll know when I get there.
okay, very
All
exciting.
right, Michael is a father. He's a husband. He's the founder of Hustle Media. He's a videographer, designer, animator, editor, skateboarder, a gym owner, I
Yes,
think. And most
yes.
importantly, he's just a super rad, good dude. And I'd put kind in there too. All my interactions, I just really enjoy talking with you and getting to know you a little bit better. So
That is very kind. You're great at intros. And I was thinking about this morning. I was like, you and I have bumped into each other like, I don't know, man, over since 2020. And this will be the
oh,
longest conversation we've ever had.
yep.
like in general.
I actually, hold on, I'm like still getting notifications. I'm muting them. I know the first time that we met, and it's because I was cleaning out my dressers this weekend because I got a new one off Marketplace. I had a few, every time I go to the CrossFit games or anything like that, I always get a shirt for that year. And there's a
Sure.
few things I have just like not been able to get rid of. And I'm going to see if you remember this.
Oh my gosh. Oh, dude, yeah. The Greg Glassman
Do you
tour.
remember that?
Yes.
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 I
Holy
was living
shit.
in,
Are we allowed to swear on this podcast?
you can swear, yeah.
Okay.
And look at the
Wow.
back of this thing too. For the audio
Dude.
listeners, this is a shirt from the 44th District Throwdown in 2016. I was living in SoCal. I was working for Barbells for Boobs at the
Whoa.
time.
Okay.
And we went there to support that event. And I remember bumping into, and like I had seen you before, and I kind of like knew who you were. We were in the same space, but we'd never interact. And it was like same thing though, 2-minute conversation, like, oh hey, how's
Oh,
it
dude.
going? Nice to meet you. And then yeah, but
Man,
yeah, and then
speaking of
of course,
barbells or boobs, this is a public, I'll publicly apologize. I gently used the Barbells for Boobs logo's barbell because they had put the logo like on the internet for download. And I full on would use, I was like, man, it's the perfect barbell outline. And I used it for so many little designs for our gym for years. Years. So thank you to Barbells for Boobs. What an amazing barbell you guys
that's
put on the internet. And you also brought me Nathan
that would have
Morris.
yeah, that would have been Chris Guardado and Chris Hansen would have been like the two guys behind that. So
Amazing.
Cheesy and Chanson. So yeah, but then yeah, lately it's actually our first like working interaction was April Fool's videos for Bubs.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how it was Sean introduced us, but it was we needed a we want to do some motion graphic stuff, and he's like, reach out to Michael, he'll help us out with that. So
Dude, those
um
are so fun.
yeah.
And it's always like, I feel like I am coming in on the like tail end of some like wild idea that you've had. And you're like, hey, I hope it's possible. Can you please make this look as wild as like reasonably like in the,
Uh-huh.
within a 4-hour window? How crazy can you make it look like we have a scoop at the bottom of this container?
Yeah, that magically rises to the
Right,
top.
that magically
So,
floats to the top.
mhm. Yeah, this year we didn't end up using you this year for stuff. It was so last. All of a sudden we're like, oh shit, April Fool's is next week, and I had the idea all like written out, but I was able just to do it myself. But
Dude, April Fool's snuck
yeah,
up on me. I mean, the year I think has snuck up on me this year. It's just like back to back. Suddenly I'm like, oh, it's May. I mean, it's not yet, but it will be tomorrow, I'm sure.
it's almost. We're recording this on tax day for all those people out there because this will probably go out in May.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's mid-April right now for
How exciting. Tax
sure.
day.
So so exciting. Mine, it was I got mine back this year, and like I was one of those that came in like really early Friday morning. My accountant sent it to me, and I was like, I'm not gonna open this. And then like 2 minutes later, it's like, I should open this, or I'm just gonna
Oh
think about
man.
it all day. Like,
Dude,
it wasn't that bad.
I have had that experience so many times where like the worst one, the story like this may carry us into other like talking about freelancing whatever, but I had a little stretch of time where I was making music videos. And so like
Okay.
a record label would send me like $25,000 or something. And it was my job to produce the entire video off that budget. But like I
Okay.
was not making $25,000. So, you know, like
No.
I was at best making probably $1,500 off of this thing. But I would like at the end of the year, I put in all my taxes and it said I owed like, you know, I was using TurboTax or something. And it was like, you owe $25,000 to the IRS. And I was like, I stood in my office and I priced out all my equipment. I was like, what can I sell? How will I ever afford to get out from underneath this tax burden? But it was, you know, I hadn't entered in a single, I was coaching at the gym at the time and I hadn't entered in a single like deduction, none of it. But I just was like, you know, teaching people to snatch that night, just like, how will I ever afford like to pay?
In the back of your head, you're
Oh
like,
God,
make sure you
dude.
knock out your elbows. And
Oh
also,
man, like,
how do you
like
deduct?
hips back and down. And does anybody have some receipts I can hold on to? It was man, wild time. Thankfully, I have hired an accountant and she is incredible and saves me from ever having to think about it. So shout out accountants and tax day.
Yeah. So, yeah, but yeah, I wanted to talk about, we kind of talked about like freelance stuff. You mentioned that there. We've been bringing on a lot of like just like cool athletes and stuff. And I wanted to bring you on to talk about a totally different topic of creativity.
Great.
And there's a lot of people who are very good creatives who um, can't ever turn it into a full-time gig because they are bad at the tax management or the time management or the business aspects of it. And from afar, it seems like you've figured that out. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I wanted to talk about is like kind of your process, your techniques of like, is it for me, like when I'm doing a lot of writing stuff, it's first thing in the morning. I just sit down and go. And I just wanted to talk about how have you've created Hustle Media and obviously like you're in a lot of different buckets.
Sure.
How do you manage it all?
Dude,
And
that's
I
a
don't
great.
know where you want to start with that.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that's a great question. I don't know where you want to jump in. Oh man, how do I manage it all? Well, my
Wait,
desk is currently
well, actually,
covered. Go ahead.
no, keep going. My bad. I was going to cut you
No,
off.
no, 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 no. Cut
Well,
me off.
maybe it'd be easier if we like started at the beginning. Did you
Ooh,
always want to be a videographer, editor? Like maybe you wanted to do something totally different.
sure, sure. So, I when I was a little kid, I wanted to be an animator at Disney. That was like my biggest
Okay.
picture goal. But I couldn't draw, and this is like strange to some people, but like I didn't grow up in a world where you would like practice at a thing to make yourself better at it. Like I grew up in like a very small blue collar town and you basically like were good at a thing and so you could do that thing or you got a job. And I was not like I didn't have a natural drawing ability. So I kind of punted that and it was like, okay, drawing's not for me. But I was very interested in making movies. My dad had this like old video camera that he would like, you know, like shake the camera and we would all pretend it was an earthquake. Like we did a lot of that growing
Yeah.
up. Like that was a common family playtime. So I had that like background. But I really tried not to go to college. Like I don't know, something about it was like frightening or just like that step was daunting because then you're like, I'm spending money towards a goal. And that was like really scary. But my parents told me I had to go to college or else. I don't know what the or else was like the military. I have no idea. So I studied film and probably like halfway through my degree, I realized like I had no interest in making like big budget movies. Like it just seemed like this like a circus world is kind of how they even explained it. They were like, you're a traveling circus. You'll be somewhere for 6 to 8 months at a time. It'll be hard to have a relationship, you know, like, and it made it very like, why are we doing this? Like, this doesn't sound like worthwhile even, you know, like to
Yeah.
chase a dream. So,
Was
as I,
Was this a 4-year school or was it a trade
This
school or?
this was kind of a trade school. It's called Full Sail here in Florida.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's a bachelor's degree, but in about 2 years. So like we went to school for 40 hours a week. Some of our classes were overnight. So like the school runs 24 hours. It was like it was all in 4 hour blocks. So you would do like 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., and this went overnight. So some nights I would have classes from like 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. or 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. And they said, like, this is a real world education to get you prepared for shoots out in the world. But in reality, I think it was how many students can we get through this place at one time,
Yeah.
and
They're doing a Henry Ford model.
yeah, they were like, let's assembly line some film students. And I got out and I shot weddings. I was like, I know, like, I need to be around people like consistently, and I need some sort of rhythm to my life. And I shot weddings and I made music videos and just kind of, and I also worked at Urban Outfitters for a little while.
Okay.
I, I worked in housewares, which meant that I was in the changing room and I would fold
Okay.
largely women's clothes and give people opinions on how their Urban Outfitters outfits looked. A lot of British tourists here in Orlando. And yeah, man, I did that for a little while. And I would go shoot weddings and music videos on the weekends. And then I started CrossFit, got introduced to what was HQ at the time through like a video contest that they had, which wasn't really a contest. I think it was more like, let's find people who make videos. And
Mhm.
I submitted some work, got sent to my level 1, and they asked me like point blank after this, like, hey, would you move to California? And my wife was in grad school, so I said no, but I started contracting, and that was in 2012. So 12 years of kind of doing stuff in the fitness space this year. But like, how do I manage it all? I don't manage all of it, like I manage
Ding.
little chunks of it at a time, and I have the world's longest like to-do list on my phone that I make every day and itemize. And I've learned that I need to like keep up with that to-do list as I'm thinking about stuff. And my desk is covered in sticky notes. Like that was what I was going to say earlier about my desk. Like these are just covered in sticky notes of I
Mhm.
should put this on the to-do list, but I haven't yet. Yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And some of them are just like counseling notes too. So it'll be like, here's a font for this thing. And also like, Carl Jung has this midlife crisis concept that you need to Google. So it's an odd smattering here across the desk.
Yeah. I've tried to do, and it's worked somewhat like for like daily tasks. I've been using I think it's just the Tasks app on like iPhone
Oh, that new one that
reminders.
they've been trying to
Um,
get me to do that.
it actually like for me like little things where it's like it's helpful for that of it's cleaned up my desk a little bit. But yeah, I'm still like a sticky note. I always have pad of paper in my backpack at all times to
Oh, dude,
kind
like
of keep that.
this is, like,
Keeps you just scrolled down like 3 times and it was still going.
no, man, I can't keep going much further because it's like I'm down into like I I I have a lady that I do not have a lady. I hired an accountant, and so she helps me handle a lot of that stuff. But a lot of my these notes become like, here's what this project is paying, and like it is
Mhm.
it's a balancing act, I think is a good answer. Um, and to your intro point, I think there are a lot of hats that I wear. Some of those hats fill my bucket, and some of those hats empty my bucket. And it's or at our house we use this concept of spoons. So like in each day you get so many spoons, and you have activities that will take spoons away. You have activities that will give you spoons back. So you can finish a day and be like, I'm out of spoons. I've given all my spoons away. But then there are ways where like, can I go skateboard in my backyard and get a spoon back? Yes, I can go get a spoon back. Or can I go work out in the garage and get a spoon back? Yes, I can go get a spoon back. So like some of the, some of those things are out of necessity from your intro, like it's work that I do and
Yeah.
things that I enjoy. And some of them are, well, I guess those are necessity too. Like balancing out having a life that feels like you are getting something from it yourself and not just endlessly giving it away.
Yeah. So because you took up skateboarding way later in life than a lot of people, right?
Oh, dude, maybe too late. I skateboarded growing up, like in early and middle and high school. Like I lived in Virginia, and so I skated like almost exclusively like downhill because we had hills. So like
Mhm.
I had longboards, and I had this mile-long path that I would basically like walk the whole course, clean out all the acorns, and then I would just bomb hills for hours and hours, and then walk home to eat dinner, and that was the move. And then I moved to
Nice.
Florida, and there were no hills. I moved here to go to school,
Mhm.
so I skated parking garages a little bit when I moved here, and it just isn't the same. Like there's a lot more flat time, and it was just not. I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. Then my car got stolen, and they took all of the skateboards out of my car, and I pretty much
Oh,
gave up skating for, man, 15 years, something like that. But I bought a skateboard again right at the beginning of COVID. Like I bought it January of 2020, and I was like,
mhm.
we're doing this thing again. And we don't have downhills, but what's the closest thing? Like, oh, skating transition. So I built a mini ramp in the backyard before I knew how to drop in. And there's videos of this on the internet, and it is horrible. I beat the hell out of my body, Nathan. It was miserable. Uh,
I think I've seen some of those.
oh my God, dude. It's like my most viewed TikTok video. Like, I get horrible interaction on TikTok, but that one video, people are still like commenting, telling me how to drop in. I'm like, yeah, I get it. It was a long time
God,
ago, and I figured it out since
this
then.
it's 4 years ago. Yeah.
Right. I got it. Thank you, though. Thank you for your input and for your interaction. The algorithm appreciates
Mhm.
it.
Yeah. Uh, and so, talking about spoon, I actually really like spoons. Like, so are you trying to give away your spoons, or are you trying to end your day with the most spoons
Ooh, that's a good
or a
question.
level amount of spoons?
Man. Well, I enjoyed earlier when on one of your earlier episodes when Kalipa asked you how many kids you had because you said your goal was to be able to pick them up. And you were like, none, but I want to be able to pick up my children. Like that's someday when I'm 60. And I think as a parent, like there, I think you kind of have to hold that concept pretty loosely. Like there is no way for me to guarantee at the end of my day how many spoons I will have. Like sometimes you're going to just give them all away for your child to make sure your child has some spoons when they go to bed. But I think it's probably more of like a neutral goal, like I don't, I didn't receive more than I gave, and I didn't give more than I received. So like, I think we all know the feeling of having given away too many spoons, of like,
Mhm.
I've got nothing left. Like, and even as a coach too, coaching at a gym, I think like, Chuck Carswell had this great quote of like, the best, like, you've done, man, I'm butchering his quote. He was like a good coaching night, you end exhausted. Like you've given every bit of yourself up to your athletes. And so I think that like when I was coaching actively full time, I would coach like 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that was like our evening block. And I would get in my
Mhm.
car and sit in absolute silence for just 10 minutes before I could even pull out of the freaking lot. And I was like, I need
Yep.
a moment. And that is the feeling of having no spoons. But then there are like little tricks, like I could sit in the car for 10 minutes, or I could listen to a song I like on the way home, and maybe I get a spoon back. Or maybe I roll the window down and it's nice out and I can get a spoon back that way. Or one of my tricks was to eat a large container of fried chicken on the way home from coaching. Not the
Mhm.
healthiest move, but I got a spoon back, like, and it's,
Yeah.
yeah, I think neutral spoons is probably the goal versus positive or
Mhm.
negative.
Yeah. I feel like I really like that analogy of the spoons and like the trying to end neutral, but like being comfortable with like I might go home with no spoons today, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I really
And I
like that.
think
And
I think
so
the
I'm
trick
just
is you have it. Yeah, please. Someone asked me recently why it was spoons and not forks. And I was like, well, I think it originally was fucks. And we have a
uh,
6-year-old. So it's like, yeah, I can't, like we went probably from forks to fucks, or sorry, fucks to forks and back to spoons as just another silverware option. So, uh, like have it, please hold on to that one. But I think it's a helpful tip to know yourself well enough to know like how you get a spoon back and how you can get a spoon back in desperation. Like I need to, like at the CrossFit games, I give away every spoon all day long. Like it's like 12 to 17 hours some days of handing spoons out. So it's like if
mhm.
I have 7 hours before I have to go back to work the next day, how do I get a spoon back? And that historically has been that I eat like a DoorDash dinner or something on the floor in my underwear in my hotel room, watching skateboarding videos or TikTok or something. It's just like, this is a moment for me, and I will get a spoon back so that I can give them back out again tomorrow.
Yeah. When you mentioned that, I immediately thought like I know if I go walk my dog, that's a spoon back. Like
Yeah, dude. Hell
I
yeah.
leave my phone. I've got a couple routes like from home or from the gym where it's like this is going to take me 10 to 15 minutes. My dog is happier. I'm happier because my
Right.
dog is happier,
Right.
and I get a spoon back. So
Yeah,
yeah,
man. I like
that was
taking
I
my
was
dog to
actually going to ask,
Starbucks. Yeah. I
get a
take him to
puppuccino.
Starbucks. Yeah, get the boy a little pup cup. Oh, he's going to hear this in
Uh,
another room and get so excited.
my dog does not know what pup cups or puppuccinos are, and I'm trying to keep it that way.
Oh, man.
I I didn't
It's
want
a
to
tough one.
open
It's a tough
Pandora's
one.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So he
worked at
gets treats,
Starbucks.
like for all the people out there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you give him a nice healthy bowl of green beans.
Here, I have a cookie jar at the gym full of his treats, and I had to put on there recently one at a time because I realized people were just grabbing a handful of like 20 treats and just putting it on the floor for
Oh
him.
my gosh.
And he's a very active, like he's at the gym. He's a healthy weight. He's not overweight, he's not underweight. He's 4 years old. He's very active. But then I realized people were doing it, and then he would always gravitate towards those people. And I was like,
Oh
"You're
yeah,
doing this
dude.
for love.
He's a
Like, you're
smart
not doing
dog.
this to give him
Yeah,
treats."
yeah.
Yeah, very much.
What kind of dog is
But
it?
but then he quit eating. He's a black lab mix,
Oh
so I got
yeah.
him from a
So
lab rescue.
yeah,
Yeah,
we have a little yellow
he's the
lab.
best. Hold on,
Yeah, they're the
Clark.
best dogs.
Oh, he's right here. His head popped up right there. Hey, come here.
Get your dog. Put your dog in this podcast.
Say
Oh
hi,
my
Bubba.
goodness. Hello, Clark. Hello, Clark. I am
Say
not
hello.
gonna
Say hello
go.
into the mic.
Hey, I could go get Bolt, but he's definitely sleeping as hard as he can in the other
Yeah.
room.
Uh-huh.
When we're done, towards the
Um,
very end of this, I will go get my dog. You tell me, you give me a warning, and I will carry him in here because once I bring him in here, this is done. He's
give you the 5 minute warning.
Yes, I will
So,
bring Bolt in at the
um,
end.
mhm. Um, do you like the title of creative,
Ooh, yes.
or do you consider yourself a creative?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I think it's one of my favorite titles. Because I
Okay.
I don't like the like videographer term. The videographer
Okay.
term to me is like sterile.
How I introduce you.
No. I just wouldn't introduce myself as a video. I do make videos. Like I that is a hat that I
Mhm.
wear. But like if we're talking big picture of like a creative, oh, so and so is a creative. Like I love that. I love it. But like I I've been introduced as a videographer. I introduce myself as that when I am being that. But like I think wearing the mantle of a creative is like accepting that you're like gonna be a little strange in pursuit
Mhm.
of art, like that gonna still have, you know, like rope lights all around your office because like it needs the curated vibe for you to like sit down and make a thing. Um,
Mhm.
and that, you know, like, man, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. I like, I think school is great and college is great. But like most of that time is they're teaching you so many rules that it's tough to then find your way into what art feels like again after you're told endless rules. And so I think if you can get back to the place, and I think I've been working really hard towards that for a long time of being able to be a creative, someone who creates and someone who like makes art. And I would love to be able to get to the part of being an artist. Um, that is like so fulfilling to my soul. I get spoons from being a creative sometimes more than I get from being like a videographer or like a content creator. I am all those things, you know, but like the act of creating to me is like biggest picture what I love the most about what I do, I think.
I get that because I like talking about creating something, right? Like these conversations we've been having they give me spoons.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Sometimes the editing process afterwards, I
Sure.
might lose a spoon.
Right, right,
and
right,
and it's fine though, because at the end of the day, we're still creating something, and
right.
I think people are there's more on the way. Like we're doing this weekly, and it's been a lot of fun. But I totally get that, like the act of doing something,
Right.
is it's spooning for me.
Oh,
Spooning all over
I
the
like
place.
that. Oh man. Yeah, that's yours. You can have that. I yeah, you're right. I I don't really consider myself an extrovert. Like I don't really normally get energized by spending time with other people. I've my energizing happens alone normally or like with my wife and daughter. But like there is something about a conversation, be it an interview, be it like an intentional chit chat, catch up with someone where you're right, it 100% does like um you get some spoons back. Sometimes a full quiver of spoons, you know? Like I've had some interviews I've done that I'm like weeping alongside of the person, you know, and I'm like, this is hard and it hurts. And like, it's like a endless, you know, it's like we're handing a spoon back and forth the whole interview. Like, here's this one. Oh, I'll take
Mhm.
that. Here's yours. I'll take that. But you're right. There is something very fulfilling to like a meaningful, conversation. And I think that's something like, man, I don't know, like I've still been kind of processing COVID recently, you know, of how much time we spent not interacting with anybody. In the last 3 weeks, I have started working out with my neighbor on Wednesdays
Mhm.
just because he was posting videos of himself working out on TikTok. And I was like,
Huh?
hey, I'm going to come work out with you. And dude, he's lived there since 2020 and I haven't met him really until like 3 weeks ago. So like
Yeah.
it's something that I'm still kind of noticing that I'm like, oh, I used to like meet people more, you know, or even just go say hello. And we just did all this, you know, we did a year and a half or, you know, whatever of like, oh, it's not safe. So I'm not going to go meet
Mhm.
my neighbor.
Yeah. I actually feel like I got closer to my neighbors during that time,
Oh, that's great.
because it was like, well, we can't really go anywhere. So like, it was like sometimes it was conversations across the fence, or it's like, oh, our dogs get along really well, and so
Right.
we go to the park and just
Right.
play fetch for a while. And I've gotten closer to them since COVID, I feel like. So
Oh, that's great. Well,
um,
if you
yeah.
put the two of us together, then we are one complete neighbor.
Uh-huh.
But
Or Wilson
yeah,
looking
yeah,
over
that's us. Right. Right.
Uh, you mentioned, and I kind of deviated a little bit, but you were talking about pursuing art and like trying to unlearn what school. How do you pursue art? What does that look like for you?
Man, you know, like, so I've been talking about this to like people close to me for a little bit, but I've been trying to write a book. And I've been trying to write a book, just like compiling some of stories about myself that I want to make sure that my daughter has intact someday before all I've got left are the highlights, you know, like
Mhm.
before, like I heard this story that's like, or this example that's like, in your 20s you tell stories with details, in your 30s you tell stories with highlights, you know, like in your 40s it's the cliff notes, like that. I'm trying to like compile like, oh hey, I like rode in a vegetable oil powered school bus to a punk festival with a family punk band, you know, like I'm trying to get that out in written form in detail for my daughter before it's like, oh, I went to Illinois once, you know, like
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
and that to me has been one of my biggest practices, I think, of getting back to like art for art's sake, because like I am writing
Mhm.
it entirely for myself. um I am like putting time and effort into conveying emotion because it's important to me, not because like someone is telling me it's due by some date, or I have a deadline, or you know, like not to help move a product for someone. Um, and so that's been really like rejuvenating, I think, for me as an artist, even if I haven't really shared it anywhere, or any of the, you know, rough draft of it yet. But that it's that, and a lot of the graphic design stuff that I've been doing and learning recently, because I will like, uh, part of what I do in the design process working with people is I put together what I call like a one sheet, which is basically just like a 1080 by 1920, because it'll fit a client's phone really well, of like every
Mhm.
idea I can think of towards whatever their goal was. So like, hey, we want XYZ. I'm like, great, I'll design XYZ. And then I'm like, and now I'm going to make A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you know, like I'm going to make my way back to X, that just like whatever comes out of my brain. And that is like so fun to me, like so that I'm like, I cannot believe you're paying me to do this, you know, like I cannot, like this is
Yeah.
incredible. And so that's been a really like helpful process of just saying like, how can I remove, oh dude, I have it right here. I wrote there are no rules, and I have it taped to my computer.
Uh-huh.
It's backwards in my screen right there, but like just for that
That's how
process, I
Yoda would
just
say
like,
it.
yeah, rules there or not.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I just like trying to remove, you know, all the learned, and man, like man, I'm mumbling and fumbling around here, but like I saw this other quote one time that was like, we don't learn rules are not rules. They're like just bumpers. They're taught because they're the places that people fail at the most. So if you think of it like bumpers in a bowling alley, like the lane is not the rule, it's just where your ball will go and you have to start over again. So like rules become bumpers just so that we can like help people learn more quickly. But you know, I held on to a lot of those rules as rules, you know, and it's been
Mhm.
very like freeing to find some mediums to like release those rules. And then that part of that is getting those things back to making videos too, you know, of like, how can I
Mhm.
take the unlearning of rules from writing and the unlearning of rules from designing, becoming the unlearning of rules into animation, and the unlearning of rules into shooting an interview, you know, like all those things, it trickles, and it's cyclical all at the same time. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
You
Okay.
you got it in there.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I
That was.
I cannot be succinct. I am so
It's
bad
okay.
at, yeah.
Podcasts are long form. That's
Great.
okay.
Great.
um,
Great.
yeah. It's funny because some of the things you're saying of like, so my background of, I grew up in Missouri, moved around a lot after school, but I didn't know what I wanted to do growing up. I still didn't really know what I wanted to do when I graduated college, but the best internship I got was being a copywriter for an ad agency. So I
Oh,
took
that's
it, and
cool.
that brought me out to Colorado. And it was funny because I hated the term "you're a creative." It felt so pigeonholy to me of, you're a copywriter, you're a creative, and I was like, yeah, but I can do other things too. And I was just kind of looking at, and it's not this way everywhere, but at that agency, it was like you're a copywriter and you're paired with an art director or a graphic designer,
Sure.
and as you get promoted up and work up, it was always the graphic designer art directors who were now like the associate creative directors and the creative directors. And so I was like, oh, so I cap out at senior level copywriter and I don't even really enjoy this. So I ended up made some moves and I ended up kind of getting out of that. And I like doing the strategy and stuff like that. Like putting that puzzle together is really
Sure.
fun for me.
Sure.
But then I love so the strategy is like, all right, there are some rules. Like here's when you want to post. That's going to get the most engagement, all that kind of
Right.
stuff.
Right.
But then the actual creating of content and like some of the stuff I've made with you, it's purposely talking maybe a little way too fast because it creates intrigue and it's a little bit different and it's kind of breaking the rule, but it helps get your point across or gather someone's attention. And so I really like, that's why I kind of with Bubs and like I own the gym and then the reason I kept doing stuff for Bubs was it was my creative outlet of I wasn't doing things for myself. But I had a little motivation of like, oh, hey, do you want to make a video for like this? And I'm like, yep, let's do it. And then that's why I kind of kept coming back and why it's kind of grown into what it is I'm doing now for Bubs. So
Yeah, dude. And I think that there are worlds in which the term creative is used as like a talking down to someone, like, especially there was a period of time where like, oh, they're creative, and that meant like, oh, they're going to be at a coffee shop for 10 hours and they don't really do anything. But they'll be there and they'll have their laptop. And I think that that's changed a lot, and I also think that like, to your point of having this like skill set that isn't just making the thing, but it's also like, oh, you're right. I can talk a little bit faster in this April Fool's video about scoops that like stay on top. And like, because we're talking faster, people are going to pay attention. And there are ways like I make videos that way, like, okay, I've got like 10 seconds to hook a viewer. So like all the best parts of my video need to be represented in the first 10 seconds. So, or else no one's making it to 15 seconds. And I think that like you can treat those as rules or you can treat them as tools, of like, here's a way that like, I know I can, like, I don't have to reinvent the wheel, but like I can start the wheel rolling to kind of get where I want to go. And so like, I think that having that strategy and that stuff is like essential. When I am making a product, a video or animation or something for a client who I know is going to do a really good job putting it out into the world, like it is so much more exciting to me than knowing that like I am making something to put on my TikTok that will get tens of views, like tens of people on TikTok will see this and tell me how to drop in. But like, I do enjoy the like feeling like something that I've made is out into the world and kind of living its own life, and getting people get to interact with it, and I get to kind of watch that and read the comments, and that stuff is still fun to me. So good for you. That's how I meant to land that plane. Good for you for like acknowledging that like you made it past, people like putting you down as a creative, when like you are a creative guy. And like, but I think like it's really cool for you to be able to acknowledge that you have those like strategy aspects and the ability to make a thing and the ability to have a fresh idea. And you can kind of bring all of that to bear. And the stuff that you do for Bubs is like, it's cool. It's cool to be like, hey, here's a company that's willing to like be silly when a lot of companies are not willing to be silly. And we can make this like April Fool's video where you're like, literally, we have to make the price point on this thing so high so that no one tries to buy this gentleman, like, I can't remember what his name was. Like you're like
Mike Hazel.
You're like, I was like, what if someone buys it? You're like, oh shit, I actually need to make sure that it's not a purchasable option on the website.
Yeah. Thank you for recognizing that was one of those. I love doing the April Fool's stuff because it Sean and TJ, to their credit, they're like, yeah, fuck yes, that's hilarious. Like, let's do it. So for the people who don't know, the premise of this one was we used to do an ad, excuse me, with this guy, Mike Hazel, really handsome guy. And when I was answering comments and all that, everybody was like, I would pay extra to have him deliver it. And like, that's what we're doing for April Fools. And so we made this video of
There
you
were a
could
lot
have
of those
Mike deliver
comments.
it.
A lot of
Yeah.
those comments. Like I thought you were
And so,
joking, and it was not a joke.
yeah. But that, so it was like $999 to have him deliver the product to you. And so that was the premise of the video. But yeah, like Sean and TJ have like, yep, let's do it. And like, it meant that I flew out to San Diego to make that. And we did it. It wasn't just that. We did other things while we were there. We made the trip worth it. But the fact, and then the best part about all the April Fool's videos, I don't know if you've noticed, we never say April Fools. It's never
No.
in the video. It's never
No.
in the copy. We never
Right.
say April Fools.
Yeah, it's never been like, this is a joke. It's like, you're either smart enough to acknowledge that this is a joke. And that's part of why I hate April Fools, because I am easily fooled, Nathan. I am the person who'd be like, wow, they found a way to get that little scooper to the top of the container every time.
That got my dad. He's like, so how does it work? And like, it's an April Fool's video, Dad. Like, it was one of those. I was like, Dad, you're a doctor, and this, like, what?
Oh
Like,
my gosh. Oh my gosh.
did you like
dude.
the one this year? The
Dude,
hot
I'm
dog
blanking
water
on what it
flavored
is.
hydration.
Oh,
It was hot dog
gosh.
water flavored hydration sticks.
Oh, didn't we talk about that last year of using like the quote from Arrested Development, like hot ham water? It's like hot water with a smack of
Oh,
ham.
I didn't put it in.
Dude, I
Yes,
think I
we did
missed
talk about that.
I think I missed it altogether.
That was so what we did is we had Lauren, our graphic
Mm.
designer, just took the existing packaging and rebranded it so it was like pink and red and tan, like, hold on one sec. Excuse me. So it was like hot dog looking packaging that I just took to Kinko's, printed it out, and made it like actual size. And then
I'm watching
I
it right now.
poured it was just the coconut flavored hydrate in there. But it kind of looks like hot dog water.
Oh gosh. We've innovated. Oh. Oh man, dude, even just watching these hot dogs wiggle in this video is a lot. Yeah, dude, good for you.
Yeah.
And dude, and honestly, you're so good at being the person in those videos. Have you done that for anything else before?
No,
Were you
No,
ever
we
in
had-
sales?
no, I hate selling shit.
Oh,
Like,
dude, well, you're
that's
great at it.
maybe my worst aspect. My worst aspect as a gym owner is sales. Like,
Oh, right.
we have love coaching classes, but when it's like, why should you come here? And it's like, hopefully you coming in, you can just see why people enjoy
Right.
it here.
Right.
Right.
Let
'cause
me
I'm
take you
not
just
good
for a
at-
walk
I'm not
around
good at-
because I'm not gonna tell you anything else beyond that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like selling your gym is a whole other. That's a whole other animal. That there are people far more skilled than I in that world. But you're like, as a character that Nathan Morris plays, who sells a thing. Nathan Morris as a salesman is really good at like scripting
I'm
or
gonna-
rushing or whatever your move is, but you're good at it.
I'm going to credit it to growing up. We didn't have like cable or satellite or anything. Like it was 4 channels or whatever that. And so on Saturday afternoons, it was just a lot of paid programming. So a lot
Oh,
of Billy
sure.
Mays selling you
Oh, man.
OxyClean and,
Oh,
yeah.
dude, what a time. The one that I remember all the time. Oh gosh, dude. I don't do you remember the one that came on really late at night, the infomercial that was called Talk Sex? Remember that lady?
No.
I think her name was
Well,
Sue
like, I feel like
Orsman.
Okay.
This was like me and all my friends in like 10th grade. We're like, you know what we should do? We should stay up all night and watch Sue Orsman. And it was like people would call, they were 100%
Oh.
pranking this lady. They were 100% pranking this lady. But she was like just taking calls. Oh man,
Uh-huh.
dude. I can't go any farther than that. We'll talk about it later.
No, she came. I remember. I know who you're talking about now. She came to. I went to college, University of Missouri. She came and did a show there, like where she
Suze
took
Orman.
questions.
Yes, that's her.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I remember. Why do I know this name? But yeah, I remember. Did you ever listen to Loveline
No.
with Dr. Drew and Adam Carolla?
Uh-uh.
That was. I think it was like Sunday nights or something, and it was whatever station I listened to back in KC. Like they would syndicate it. Um, yeah, that's
I'm
fun.
trying to find it. Oh no, Sue Johansson. So it's not Sue. It was from 2002 to
Sue Orson.
2008. So whoever Sue Orsman is, wildly unrelated to this. I have a adult ADHD, Nathan. Yeah,
I'm looking. Sue Orsman, personal finance expert.
yeah, dude. Whatever overlap in there, I can deal with in counseling at some other time. But
Uh,
well, that'll become
she's
a
sold
sticky
over
note here
25
somewhere.
million books. Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be a sticky note somewhere over here. That's like, figure out why I thought the talk sex show was done by the accounting
Wait,
lady.
personal finance. When you
Yeah.
look up Sue Orsman on Google, it's the first two, like the what happened to Susie Orsman and why does Suze Orsman never go out to dinner? Those are the first two things.
Well, it's
that pop
because she
up.
did a talk sex show from 2002 to 2008, and she can't show her face in public anymore.
People just ask her questions.
Oh
Um,
man,
yeah.
yeah, Sue
Do
Johansson,
okay.
not
Okay.
Sue Orsman. Sue, whatever her name is.
Mhm.
God bless her.
Yeah. Do this went off the rails. Um, but you've mentioned a few times, and I haven't gotten to ask you about it yet. The gym. What is your
Yes.
role? Like, are you the owner? Are you a co-owner? How does that work?
I am a co-owner. So when I worked as an employee at CrossFit, I became the owner because there were some incentives as an employee of CrossFit to be like someone who owned and operated an affiliate.
Mhm.
And that like worked out in everyone's favor, both the gym and mine. And so my role now is so minimal, like so minimal at best. Like there was a period of time where I was like our head coach and head trainer. Um, but I design like probably 4 shirts a year now for the gym.
Mhm.
I help clean an occasional bathroom. If there's like odd jobs that need to get done, I will do those odd jobs. But my wife more or less runs the gym now. And there's a gentleman named Hank Porche who is like actually like the gym dad. He is the official gym owner. And so we are kind of co-owners alongside of Hank. But yeah, man, I don't like, I'm actually coaching on Friday for the first time in like a year or two. I have to maintain a credential for CrossFit. So I have my level 2 and I will have to go take my level 2 again at some point. But like we have a really good staff of coaches who like love doing it and they get spoons back from that time. And I will have a great time on Friday and I will be exhausted as soon as I am done. But yeah, man, my role is very, very minimal now. I'll clean a floor, I'll change the toilet paper in the bathroom when I go. I'll pick up all the paper towel pieces from the floor and I will design some shirts for Memorial Day. That's kind of the upcoming to-do list for me. But my role there is like very, very small in comparison to what actually happens at the gym. You run yours
Yeah, and
like
that's
full time?
yeah. So
Good for you.
it's me, and then I'm actually bringing on a full-time coach here in the next month or so, because more bubs were like just kind of. It's also
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
He is a great coach. It's one of those like he is the person to do this,
Right.
and the timing's just working out for everybody.
For
So,
sure.
yeah. So I'll take a step back from coaching as many hours. I'm still going to handle like the finances and all that, and then like slowly over time try to bring. He wants to learn more and do all that kind of stuff, but he's a hell of a coach, and he wants to do it, and we're able to make it work. So,
Yeah, dude, and good for you,
yeah.
man. Like that like acknowledging that was like a really interesting challenge in 2012 when we opened the gym in 2012. I came on staff for CrossFit at like the end of 14 or beginning of 15. And so like that's kind of when I started stepping back. And to that same point, we had a lot of like young Orlando is very like transient. It's a very transient city. Like most people don't come to Orlando and stay. Like they're here to go to college or to work at a job for a period of time and then they relocate. So like we have a lot of like really great young coaches come through. And while they're in college, we're like, man, it would be great to have them for 4 years. So like, can we give them as many coaching hours as we have available so that person can stick around? And now like most of our coaching staff are the people who have stayed in Orlando. So it's a lot of like I have a large female coaching staff who coaching is not their primary objective in life. They're moms, they're professionals, but they love that time, and I think that is very relatable to a lot of the other client base at the gym, where they can come and be like, oh well, like Casey has a child and works a job, and so like when Casey talks to me about how I can change things in my own life, like it's more relatable than like somebody who's just like, you need to bench more, and they're like, okay, yes,
Hmm.
I'll try to carve out a day to bench more. Uh, so I think it's just, it's just it's an interesting dynamic to basically be able to say like, hey, I have a coach that is going to do so much better at this than I can, like, and then to be able to set them up for
Yeah.
success to let them do that. Like it's a wild experience.
Yeah. And it's one of those like there's the left brain, right brainness of it. Like I think two brain business talks about this. I've never actually used them, but I've read some of their materials before of like
I've read
there's
them.
the
Yeah.
left side and analytical, like all the systems that you need to have in place and all that. And then there's the coaching, which is your right brain creative side. And I totally agree with all that. And for me, it's so hard to bounce back and forth. But if I can spend my morning doing all my admin work and then I coach in the afternoons, that gives me spoons of
Yeah.
I like doing both. But when I have to coach, like let's say like our early mornings, we have a 6 and 7, 9:30, and then noon. And if I can't do admin work in between, my brain just can't
Oh, dude.
cycle back and
Right.
forth
Right.
and do it well.
Right.
So it's so funny because like you get into this because you love coaching, you love teaching, but like, oh, for me to actually make more impact, I need to step back from coaching and empower these other four coaches that I have
Right.
and build them.
Right.
And
Right.
so it takes you a while to get there. You don't want to let go. Not that I want to micromanage, but it's like this is my baby. I love doing this,
Right.
but I have no work-life balance right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And dude, it's
So,
it's interesting too. Like, I've coached at like a few different gyms. Like we helped open this one. And then we moved to South Carolina. We thought we were gonna move full time to South Carolina, but we ended up staying for like not even 10 months. And in that
mhm,
time, I coached at one gym that closed and then to another gym. And uh the gym that closed, like before they were able to say like, hey, we're closing the doors, the question they were asking was like, what is sustainable for us? And like sometimes sustainability, like long term, means that you have to not do some of the things that you're actively doing. So like they had like all these open gym hours that theoretically were just open gym and easy time to come in for folks, but like they still, someone had to be there and someone had to open the door
mhm,
and someone had to clean up after that. They were like, we're gonna have to stop doing open gym so that we can make having this gym open period like sustainable for
mhm.
us. And then when that became unsustainable, then like, okay, it's time to like full on close the doors. And that was hard for everybody, but it's interesting to kind of be in that like bigger picture perspective to say like, okay, like this time for me is coming to an end, and the next phase will only work if someone is here who's like fired up about not having to do their admin work in the morning, where I'm like fired up
Mhm.
about getting my admin work done in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, like with Jared is the guy who's coming on. So the gym turns 14 this year. I've owned it since the beginning of 2019, so just
Okay.
over 5 years. And Jared's been there since the beginning. He's been coaching there for 13 and a half of the 14 years.
Wow.
Um, but
Good for
yeah, and
Jared.
and he's had another job, but he loves coaching. So he comes in, he does the morning classes almost every day, and then goes and does his regular job. And it's like, okay, like about a year ago, I'm like, okay, Jared, like, how do we do this? Like, what's your number? What do you need to
Right.
come, like how, and then, okay, and then cool. Napkin math, like how do we figure this out? And
Right.
we
Right.
finally got to a point where like, all right, this makes sense. We can do this. And he was in, and like I was like, hey, like remember what we talked about? Like, is that like it? Sorry, I'm rambling. Now I'm rambling.
No,
But
I'm
he,
in. I'm following along.
yeah, it was it. The timing's working out. He and his wife just had their first child, so he wanted something to where he wasn't gonna have to work as late at his other job, and like, and I'm over here like, yeah, bring your baby to work if you want. If you want to
Right.
coach with your daughter in a Bjorn, go for it. Like people
Right.
love that.
Right.
So
Right. Man, that's so
she's
cool.
gonna
Good
have
for
more.
Jared.
Yeah, she's gonna have more coaching hours under her belt by the time she's 2 than a lot.
Oh man, dude, that's my daughter.
I
She'll be
want to get
like,
her.
she'll be like, can I go watch the warm up with mommy? I'm like, yeah, you can go up there. And then she'll be like, mommy, can I hold the PVC pipe? And then this next thing you know, Ellie's leading the warm up. Like, okay, go get him, babe. Everyone
How old
pay
is she?
attention to this. She's 6.
Okay,
Everybody pay attention to
so enough
this
that she can.
tiny child.
She's got some attitude. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Oh man, does she ever? It's great. It's my favorite thing.
Mhm. Cool. Well, okay, and then I guess one of the other things I wanted to talk about is like, so you got the gym, you got the creative stuff. Like, are you like a time management? Like, are you great at that? Are you bad at that? Are you like, for me, I know I do my best creative work early in the morning. So, is that how you work, or?
Man, I normally start my day like I we walk our daughter to school. So we like walk her to school, come home. I normally take my dog to Starbucks because like I work from home and I walk my daughter, so like I don't go anywhere. Like I said I go to the gym a day a week. I work out at home, I skateboard at home. So like if I don't go a place, there are times where I just don't. I can exist and get all the things done here. So I
Mhm.
take my dog to Starbucks, and I'm just imagining him in the other room hearing me say all his favorite things and just
Yeah.
being furious. But I start the day with my least creative tasks first. So if
Mhm.
that's like emails, follow-ups, invoices, checking ins, like if I'm have a project I'm contracting someone else, it's like checking in on them, seeing how that stuff's going. Um reviewing I do like reviewing content for clients that their like in-house teams are making. Um I try to get all that stuff done first. And then start in on whatever my like creative work is for the day. So once I have that stuff done, I like to your same point, I can't like it's like I can't cram admin into my coaching time. It's like I can't cram creative into my admin time. So like whenever that
Mhm.
stuff is done, I have to take a little break and reset, which might just be like, making some toast and going to sit outside with a dog for a second and then come back in and like, okay, here we go. But if I'm starting like a new project, I do not like to start a new project after doing admin stuff. So like if I have to really like I'm doing a design project right now, it's like a rebrand of a competition. And they really wanted to like kind of build this like new world. Like it's not like new font. It's just like it's like new name, new everything. Let's bring people to a
Okay.
whole new place. And I had to start that like late one night after everybody went to bed. Because I
Mhm.
needed like full focus, full attention. I needed the ability to like remember that there are no rules. I can daydream and that I'm not gonna have to like answer an email in the middle of it. So I'm pretty good about time management. I'm really good about meeting deadlines. Sometimes to my own detriment. Like I'll just stay up all night to meet a deadline if I have to. But I
Mhm.
do have adult ADHD, so I have to like acknowledge sometimes that like I'm gonna
Mhm.
start a thing and blink, and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So
Mhm.
I'm pretty good about it, but I don't use like any sort of time management software. I've tried so many times, and I'm like, that's a whole other thing. I got to learn. I can't do it. So yes, I can do it. Yes, I'm okay at it, but like there are plenty of times that I'm like, where did today go? Like
Yeah.
that was the whole day. It happened. And I did nothing.
That now, yeah, I definitely get that. Like for me, it's really early or really late is when I can do it. But usually I have something kind of early in the morning. It's like I can't because of life and the way things work now. If I stay up really late, it's like, oh, I also know I have to get up at 5:30 in the next morning. So
Right.
like I
Right.
can't stay up until 1 a.m. And be successful at what I'm going to do the next day. So
Right. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
it's an endless negotiation with myself. You know, like, okay, I did it last night. I was like, I have some work I need to get done for today. And I was like, all right, I won't stay up that late. And then it's like midnight. And I'm like, all right, I have to get up in 6 hours to get my daughter ready for school. So like I wake up today and I'm like, all the creative work is moving a little slow. I think. So it's an endless like, okay, when, if something is pressing and needs to get done, great, I'll stay up and get it done. But it is like really challenging to the point of like one of your original questions is like, how do you manage all these things? And it's like sometimes you manage them well by just not doing all of them at one time. So when my daughter comes home from school, I want to be able to be present. I want to be able to just like, hey, you want to play Mario Kart? You want to like go stand around in the backyard? That's fine. Let's go do that. And I'm not going to try to be like working while I do that, so that when I am later, like, okay, let's get you to bed, make sure like hang out with my wife, spend some time with her, get some spoons back. And then like I can plug back in and get some stuff done later that night. So like, do I always manage it well? No, absolutely not. Am I trying to? Yeah. And am I trying to like be intentional about the time that I'm doing each of those things? Yes. But I am still 15 years later figuring out how to do that.
Who do you main on Mario Kart?
Oh, my daughter only lets me play as Bowser. Exclusively. She will be so adamant. I cannot play with another character other than Bowser. So I like Bowser on one of the dirt bikes with the tiniest wheels that I can find on Mario Kart. That's my move.
Why does she make you be Bowser?
Have you seen the Mario movie?
Yeah.
Okay, so in her mind, she is Princess Peach, and Bowser loves Princess Peach. So in her mind, because I love her, I am Bowser. So I would want to be, Mario. Why not? The hero of the thing. But also, I think like when the Jack Black song came out, I think she was like, I sang it to her one time, and she was like, "Oh, Daddy's great at Bowser." So I am not allowed to play any character. Like, dude, she'll be in a tub sometimes, and my wife and I will play Mario Kart just like head to head while my daughter's in the bath, and she'll from the bath. You better be Bowser. I'm like, yes, babe. I'm Bowser. Please wash yourself.
I'm Bowser.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I am Bowser.
I was always Yoshi. Or I still am always Yoshi. So,
oh, dude, Yoshi's great. I think I don't always know if I believe that all the characters are any different, but they definitely are.
I know what you mean.
And yeah, like they like it's very much degree, not kind. Like they're all gonna go forward, they're all gonna turn, but some are gonna turn a little faster. Bowser's gonna get more shells. Yoshi's gonna get more speed boosts. That's just how you want to play the game,
Yeah.
And I want to destroy. That's why I get to be Bowser.
That was Mario Kart used to be so. For a while, I was doing some video work. This is it before I took over the gym. I was doing some video work, and actually, Kevin Ogar's gym is not far from mine, and I've known him forever.
Great guy.
Yeah, he let me set up a little tiny work. So when he opened his gym, it was just he and I coaching there. One of us coached the mornings for the week, one coached the evenings. We'd work out middle of the day and just switch every week.
That's cool.
And then when I moved back, he was like, I started going to his gym some, and he had a little broom closet, and I was like, I need a place to like edit these videos. That's not my for some reason I couldn't do it at home.
Sure.
And he's like, just set up in there. And it turned into every morning I would go in to do my editing, and he would coach the morning classes a lot at that point. And it was like, okay, it's going to take me about 2 hours to do this editing. And I was like, what do you have to do? And he's like, I need to like call the bank, like name like 3 things. I'm like, cool. If we are done, we get to play Mario Kart. And like, that was our motivation. And so we 3-starred everything over the course of a few months.
That's so great.
So
that's so great.
Yeah. But
I
then
used
people would come in for the noon class and we're playing Mario Kart and they're like, "Is this all you guys?" And we're like, "Hold on, we got a lot done
like, this
today.
is a
This is
reward,
our
okay?
reward."
Right.
Yeah.
This is our pup cup. We're getting
Yes.
spoons back. This is not. We're not wasting time.
Mm-hmm.
I no, I get it 100%. I
So,
used to stay up with my uh right before I got married. I had some neighbors that were like 5 doors down that we would stay up till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, like every night playing Halo. Every night. I would
uh-huh.
walk to like this corner store. I would buy like a 40 of whatever beer that they had on sale that day and a huge pack of gummy
Mm-hmm.
worms. And we would eat gummy worms, drink beer, and stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning playing Halo. One of the
Mm-hmm.
least healthy periods of my life. But what a time. What a time to be alive. Battle
Yeah.
rifles, incredible.
Mm-hmm. I was like swords.
Oh, man.
I was never good at aiming, but if I could get close, it's like, all right, I stand a chance
Yeah,
now.
hell yeah. Hell
So,
yeah. Okay. All right. I see you,
yeah.
Nathan. I know what you're like.
I haven't played Halo in forever though. But cool. Michael, this has been awesome.
Dude.
Thank
Yeah,
you
this is
so
great.
much for coming on.
Should I go grab my dog?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Bolt?
Yeah, Bolt. You entertain with the viewer for a moment and I will return.
So, viewers, Michael's going to go grab his dog, but I just want to thank you for coming in and tuning in to the Cult of Recreationalism. We're on podcast services everywhere. We're on YouTube. If you search Bubs Naturals, you're going to find us. So, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, all those, search Bub Naturals. Follow us, like. Oh, look, there he is.
Look at him.
Bolt would leave a 5-star review.
Bolt, what do you have to say? He was so tired. That's it.
It looks like
How
he's
long can I
talking into
hold
the
him?
mic. That's awesome.
Thank you, Nathan. This was great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Mike, where can people find you? Like, if is it Instagram? Is it a website? Take some time.
I am on Instagram at Michael is Hustle. That's AEL. Michael is Hustle. TikTok is the same. My website is hustlemedia.co. But yeah, if you want to find me, Instagram's probably the place to do it.
Awesome. Well, cool, man. Thank you for coming on. This is a lot of fun. I have more spoons now. So cool.
Yeah, dude. Thank you for the spoons. I will talk to you later. Thank you, dude. This is great.